Hey, Opportune team. Really excited to meet you three and looking forward to chatting with you, Dan, Christina, and Colleen here in a few hours. I just wanted to apologize if doing another screencast isn't helpful, but being short on time, uh, this is the best way that I can show or demo some work that I couldn't do previously in the other videos. But there's this particular app here that, the one that was giving me server issues um, that was API issues with a server that was hosting it. But this specific app is actually the best example of an original UI design that I've done for an internal tool or for a dashboard. The other examples, were more legacy projects. They have an established design that wasn't done by me, and I just had to keep with the look and feel to implement a feature. And then the other thing is that this is, I guess, the best example of implementing a static mockup into a prototype and live production code. And so I'll be sure and post this link in again if you care to see the actual static mockup. But uh, basically, it's what you're seeing here is essentially just explorations, right? That's what mockups are. You receive some specs and you come up with a design, but in actuality, at least how it's done here, not everything gets implemented. It's just to give a few ideas. In this case, the app, the actual job it's to serve is to provide a tool for a service provider who does non-emergency transportation to hospitals, such as like wheelchair transportation and basic medication or IVs, is able to receive a request from a hospital and then fulfill it. And so the concept was to not only get the request, which is the spec, but then to increase accuracy when the company is broadcasting. You don't want to broadcast to a provider that doesn't have any vehicles available. So if we're able to provide an awesome tool that the provider can use to manage their dispatching, in this case, accept a trip and then go ahead and assign a vehicle or a driver. Uh, there's anyways a few other ways that was done, but if you can go through and assign it, then the actual engine that does the assigning would be able to filter out any providers who do not have any drivers or vehicles available. And so, but again, that's just a concept. And what is actually implemented is, it takes time. So phase one, they prioritize some functionality and, we'll plan for it later. However, I'm still getting issues. So all of the production code that we have here, um, yeah, it's giving me the same errors, but it is it's because they're making get calls to an actual database, which is down. But here I have some work that I've done in the past 2 weeks, which is a prototype. It's using mock data. It's not making any get calls at all. It's hard coded data, and or I'll mock a server to be able to do this, and it's therefore I can show it to you. But I did yesterday actually implement some work here to, for Dan. I know he uses GSAP. He uh, saw through your website, you did some neat contributions to D3, and as well as your code that you have some demos showing GSAP. But I thought I'd show you something. But this prototype is actually, it's designing it in code rather than an actual static mockup. And this feature is fulfilling a need in the event of, it's basically a customer service representative view. So if a provider has a question of a trip, like, hey, I got a trip, I can't assign it, or I don't know how, or anything like that, This tool is meant to allow an internal team to be able to look up a name and then populate, search for a trip, see all the details about it. So in this case, we already have Jane Doe. If you search for a name, it will then bring back results, as many as match your query. And then you're able to then, see some basic details. But uh, whenever you're ready to see the full details of the entire trip, be able to make modifications, edits, um, add remarks, things like that. So I'm still working on it. I'll continue to add that functionality to show it, but it would be in that view specifically where that would happen. And then I took a little further and thought that, you know what, there's probably times that a customer service rep is a liaison. They're working between the hospital and the provider. That's essentially what the service does. So they might want to have a couple windows open. So as you search, you can save a search or star it. And maybe you're going to look for, someone else, get new results, and then you can add more windows to them. So that way you can have these searches up and then be able to help, two parties if you're on the phone, or whoever needs to see it. And then you can customize or modify your view, removing these or removing them completely. And so finally, here is a recently viewed table. Nothing special. It's just a view that is going to log all of your searches, so that if you had trouble finding a specific trip, you already knew that you had searched for it previously. You can come here and then search and do the same thing. Yeah, but here just wanted to kind of show you. Let me pull up the code, and this is just using uh, anime.js, which is kind of similar. I looked in the GSAP, and it does, the simple DOM selection, manipulating once you target it. And, this is a single page app, so had some issues with the DOM updating. And so Ember has their little run cycle where you can wrap it within this function. But anyways, got it working, and allows you to modify all of the style attributes as you would in an animation library. And that's where we get these cool effects here. Running a function allows us to target all of the results and then to give this progressive animated list view. So anyways, that's just mainly it. As you can tell, they're not ready to implement images and so forth. This is the app. Hopefully I can, if requested, I love to show you kind of what we're going with from the static view to the actual code. But this is the example I just wanted to share again of, taking a feature request, implementing a design, and here we're going to demo this actually on Friday. So I'll be working on, like I said, the full tool or window, which you can make these modifications and create remarks and show a log of messages and so forth. But this will be demoed, and if things are approved, people like it, then we'll continue. The other thing I just want to end is that it's through these actual prototypes and exploring some new ideas, of course, of these type of things are what influence the future direction of the app. Here's a dashboard. Of course, like most dashboards, they provide important data for a customer service representative. An admin might want to see how effective, which one of their reps are more effective, and then they can give some recognition for that. Or they can see open service tickets and so forth. But dashboard is missing on these other features, but because of success of one design, very likely this will influence the rest of the app.